Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. This week we'll tell you about Kingston Community Radio and how they have a new life on the air. We'll preview Winterfest this weekend at the Forsyth Nature Center, and we'll start with a preview of another event happening this weekend, Renew You 2014, a fundraiser for Kingston Kinderland 2. And here with us now to talk about that is Kathleen Murray and Beth Hannigan. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Now, the fundraiser and the Kinderland 2 project are falling under the umbrella of the Junior League, of which you are a member, right, Beth?
Yes, I'm the president-elect of the Junior League.
So tell me about the Junior League. Tell me what it does besides things like this.
We're a women's organization. We have 123 members at different membership levels. We have the provisionals, active members, privileged actives, as well as sustaining members. There's different requirements for different levels. We primarily do volunteerism in and around the city of Kingston.
And so, Kathleen, you are a provisional member, which is sort of like being on double top secret probation. What is a provisional member?
This first year of membership as a junior leaguer is our time to learn about the junior league way of volunteering. We're given a class project and we are responsible for coming up with the fundraising for that project, and it's kind of a great way for us to be introduced to what these fabulous women do.
So what was your inspiration, your motivation for joining the Junior League?
My inspiration was absolutely Kingston Kinderland 2. I have a 4-year-old son, and we moved back to Kingston this past summer, and we spend, countless days playing at Kinderland. And I remember when it was built the first time in the 90s. So I knew one of the first things I wanted to do when we moved back was to join the Junior League.
So raising the funds for the Kinderland renovation, Kinderland 2, is your provisional project.
Right. We are specifically creating interactive signage at the playground that will give folks who are interested in donating an opportunity to donate. It would be calls to action. There'll be all the plans for the new playground so they can see them. Because right now, if you go to Kinderland, you might not know that we're planning on a new playground. So we are raising money for that signage, and any money above and beyond will be just cutting a check to the capital campaign.
Now Kinderland is, for people who don't know, is at Forsyth Park, actually next to the Nature Center, which we're going to hear about in the next segment. Kinderland, the original, was built in the 90s, you said?
It was built in 1991. The Junior League spearheaded it. It was built with funds raised by the Junior League of Kingston, as well as volunteer labor from many different service organizations and just citizens in the city who wanted to come out and help. And it will be done with volunteer labor. Again, we use the same design firm, Leathers and Associates, to do the new design as well.
Now, my son, I have a little boy too, he's almost 5, and he loves playing at Kinderland. When I go there, it doesn't seem like it's outdated, is it?
It's exceeded its lifespan. What it was projected to last, it's gone further, and that's thanks to the maintenance from the city of Kingston. But there are some factors that it wouldn't be usable after 2015. So that we are ahead of the game in rebuilding it.
So tell me about the fundraiser. What's going on this Saturday?
Okay, so this Saturday at Cornell Street Studios, which is a multi-use fitness center, galleries for handmade objects, art exhibition space.
And a garage door company at the same time, right?
On top of a garage door company, yep. They are graciously donating their space as the venue for Renew You 2014, which will be a morning of fitness classes for folks from all walks of life and interests. So we'll have 2 studios having classes going simultaneously all morning long. There'll be demonstration classes, Zumba, Dance Across Fitness, Dance It Out, hula hoop, Pilates, 2 kinds of yoga, and then a class called Nia, which is kind of a combination between yoga and dance, and even introduction to meditation. And then while folks are trying out these demonstration classes, they also will have the opportunity to meet some beauty, health, and wellness practitioners from the area who will be passing out samples, doing demonstrations, and so there's experts in chiropractic, natural remedies, makeup, juicing. So it should be a really great morning to just sort of treat yourself. But every dollar raised is going to our Kinderland project.
And how much is the admission? Is it a la carte, or is there one price?
It's a one price of $20 cash.
Okay. So how much is Kinderland 2 going to cost? You have a projected, and how many fundraisers like this are you going to need to get it together to build it?
The projected cost is going to be about $150,000. That's worst case scenario if no materials are donated. And we have to fundraise the entire cost of the materials. The labor is all volunteer labor, so there's no cost for labor included in that figure. We've had a few fundraisers up to date. We did a Touch a Truck last fall, and we also did the Turkey Trot, which were very successful events that we're planning on doing again.
Oh yeah, the Kingston Turkey Trot, its first year was hugely successful, like 400 runners or something, right?
Yes, for our first run, it was a great event. The weather was a little cold, but it didn't stop anybody from coming out there.
Runners don't mind, yeah.
So we'll be doing those again in the fall, and we'll also be having other fundraising activities that we'll start to plan and advertise in the upcoming months.
Terrific. Well, it's a great project. It's a great provisional project, and we're looking forward to seeing the final results in a couple of years' time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
You're watching Kingston Now. Up next is Julie Noble and Kevin Gilfeather from the city of Kingston to tell us about this weekend's Winterfest. Welcome back to Kingston Now. Here with us now is Kevin Gilfeather, the superintendent of the city's Parks and Recreation, and Julie Noble, an environmental education with the department. Welcome to the show, folks.
Thank you
so much.
So, Kevin, the city runs the Forsyth Nature Center, is that correct?
Yes, it's it's located in one of our 11 park locations, and it has been in existence since Betty the Bear rolled into Forsyth Park back in the 1930s.
And the park and the zoo itself was part of the donation for the original land from the Forsyth family?
It was part of the land, and they started to build the zoo based upon the fact that Betty the Bear had arrived. And
so had they gotten Betty as a pet or something? How did that
just
come
strolled
about?
into the park as bears do in various backyards. It decided to come across apparently Lucas Avenue and maybe wanted to go to Dietz Stadium to see a football game or something along those lines. But
And bears are still doing that in uptown
yes,
Kingston.
they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So Julie, the zoo aspects of the Nature Center sort of evolved, 15, 20 years ago? Is that correct?
It did. So the zoo itself has been around since the 30s. And it's always been a place where people can come and look at animals, feed them, get up close and personal. But now it has more of an environmental, nature-based part of it. Since about 15 years ago, it was renamed the Forsyth Nature Center. There's a Friends organization that is directly tied to it. And so now people can come every day, year-round, and they can participate in programming, whether it's learning about the animals themselves or doing gardening or composting or learning about water or how to do energy efficiency improvements at their home. We have solar panels there and a permeable pavement walkway that they can learn about and walk on. So it's more than just a zoo now.
The animals that are there now, there aren't any like really giant carnivores anymore. It's right, sheep and turkey and things like that, pheasant, right?
Yes, it's primarily domestic animals. There are some natives as well. We have a reptile building, a greenhouse that has reptiles in it, of course, and then we have a turtle building. But it's mostly domestics, and there's a number of birds as well, typically birds that people would have as pets. But it's mostly animals that can be hands-on. It's not a petting zoo per se, but people certainly get up close and personal with the animals.
Yeah, I know my little boy loves to look at the sheep when he goes there. Now as part of the Parks and Recreation, you're not assigned specifically to Forsyth. You go out into the other parks, and you also go into schools, right, to present programs?
That's right. So Monday through Friday during the day, myself and my colleague Steve go into the schools, or we bring children from the schools out into the parks. So year-round, we're teaching environmental ed lessons. So we might be taking them snowshoeing or kayaking or teaching them how to make maple syrup or about how to recycle or manage stormwater. There's a variety of different things. And we get to do that during the school day. And then after school, we have the Parks Department actually runs 2 after-school programs, one at the Rondout Neighborhood Center and one at the Everett Hodge Community Center. And so as environmental educators, we do programming at the Hodge Center.
Is Parks and Recreation the best job in the city? Kevin?
I tell you, when you can have an impact, a positive impact on people's lives, and I think that we do that each and every day. People come to us because they want to, and it's It's nothing against any other department, but generally when you're calling the fire department, there's an emergency. If you're calling the police department, there's an emergency going on. But people want to come in to us, whether it's up at the nature center, and we have people, choosing that as their destination from as far down as New York City and as far north above Albany, coming down to the nature center. And it just happens to be located in, one of our parks, and it's a destination. They come here, they have an activity, they get to play, they get to learn, they get to meet with some incredible staff that teach them things that they were unaware of. And then they can go and they can do their shopping. They can go out to eat, have lunch or dinner, anywhere locally, because we have so many terrific places to go to for, to eat and enjoy themselves. But we're happy that we're one of the places that they come to.
People smile when they see you,
Well,
right?
we believe that the quality of life is so important, and we're happy to be able to provide that to not only the people in our community, but as people come in from the outside into the city of Kingston to enjoy.
So Winterfest, Julie, this weekend, winter weather or not, right? It's happening. Tell me about it.
It's happening. So about 5 years ago, we decided that we wanted to continue to get people out through the winter. So the Parks Department offers programming year-round, and we host a huge event in the fall festival at the Forsyth Park, and we get thousands of people to come out. We host events in the spring with the Junior League throughout the park system, and in the summer we do a kayak festival in June with Kenco Outfitters. But we wanted to get more people out in the winter, and where myself and my colleague and husband Steve went out to college, we went to school in Syracuse, and we got so excited about snow and snowshoeing. And when we came back here to work for the department, we said, we're going to do snowshoeing programs here. And so we helped to start a Winterfest, and that was about 5 years ago, like I mentioned. It's at Hasbrook Park. It's this Saturday, January 11th, from 10 to 2. And snow or shine, we will be holding it. When we have snow, we do snowshoeing programs. So we'll take children and adults, we teach them how to snowshoe, how to put them on, how to walk, how to run, how to do some animal tracking through the forest. When we don't have snow, which we probably won't this Saturday, we will still go out and do a hike. So we have proper shoe protection for people if it's icy. If not, people can just wear boots, and we can still talk about snowshoeing, but we will navigate through the forest there at Hasbrook Park and get people outside. We'll also have things going on inside throughout the day. So there's children's games and activities. And this couldn't be run without the Friends of Forsyth Nature Center helping us out, and a number of volunteers throughout the community, as the Parks Department couldn't deal without volunteers at all. But there will be food indoors as well, so there'll be some warm soup and hot cocoa and tea and some goodies. And people can come throughout the day, and if they're more into birding or being outside and want to go down by the river, Mark D. Day, who is the caretaker at the Forsyth Nature Center, will be down at Kingston Point all day and pointing out with some spotting scopes and binoculars some eagles, hopefully, and some osprey or other birds or waterfowl on the river.
And I know Mark gets very excited when he finds a rare species, which he often does, so maybe you'll get to share that with him too.
I hope so.
Well, Winterfest sounds great this weekend, and we appreciate you guys stopping by.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having us.
This is Kingston Now. Next, we're going to tell you how local radio was saved with local broadcast legend Walter Maxwell. You're watching Kingston Now. Walter Maxwell has been a fixture on Kingston radio for years, most recently with Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ 920 AM, and he joins us now. Hi, Walter. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Good.
Especially now, after what happened the last couple of weeks. December 20th came by, got a call. You're off the air on the 31st.
It happened that fast?
Happened that fast.
Because the word went out that Kingston Community Radio, which is a weekday show, 7 till 9, on 920
Yep.
AM, was going to be done by the 31st.
Yeah. Well, there were some rumors circulating around that Pamela was thinking of a couple of options.
And they're the broadcast group that owns the radio station.
Right. And they were looking to sell their 3 AMs, sell them individually. Didn't know what. So I had heard that they might turn the whole thing off. And on the 20th, I've got a call from the owner of Pamela saying that the 31st was going to be the last day. They were sorry and so forth, but the economics of the business was such that goodbye. And he was very nice about it because I'd known him for a number of years when we had a long-term relationship. And you know, these things go. I mean, business is business, and but you know, KCR is a fixture in the community. We're a public radio. We count on people's donations to keep us on the air, as well as underwriters. And I felt sorry for those folks who had been with us for 11 plus years, that had really become accustomed with us, comfortable with us, and my hopes were that we could continue it on. So I learned that on Friday the 20th, and I didn't know how I was going to break it and how I was going to handle it, so I went on to Facebook, and this is interesting. So I floated it on Facebook saying that KCR was going to go off the air because we have a KCR page there, and right away got a call from the Times-Herald Record. I mean, whoever would have thought that they were trolling Facebook, right? Looking for news stories. So he picked it up right away, gave him all the information. He had a news story on Monday's paper, which was 2 days before Christmas then, the 23rd. I got a number of phone calls in. Marshall Miles heard about it, and he called me and said, you know, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. Do I go try to get on to another radio station, whether it's FM or what? I didn't want to go on the internet exclusively because a lot of our listeners do not have computer access. And so I was in a quandary. Marshall said, you know, I've been looking to expand his public radio, which is Robin Hood Radio, Tri-States Public Communications, which owns a couple translators, an AM and an FM in Sharon, Connecticut. He said, you know, I've been looking to get into the Hudson Valley with a larger signal. Let me see what I can do. So he called Jim Morrell up in Albany and talked to him.
He's the Pommel guy.
He's the Pommel guy, and said, hey, why don't you make a donation of the radio station, and you get the tax write-off. You know, you don't have to worry about the towers because a couple of the towers need work, and that was going to be Jim's expense, is to take care of that. And Marshall talked to him and made a deal with him, saying, I'll take care of your tower problems. You give us the radio station, you get a tax write-off, and you look like a hero because you keep KCR on the air. So Marshall and his partners worked on this thing Christmas Eve, the day after Christmas, and they kind of like had a deal pretty much underway. The papers were put together that Friday, which was the 27th. They went over the papers and looked at it and said, yeah, we can live with this. Who's going to own the studio and so forth. And so we made arrangement that the equipment in the studio belongs to Tri-States, Robin Hood Radio. I rent space there for myself and for KCR. And so KCR would hold the space and we would continue to do KCR from 82 John Street. That deal was signed Monday, which was the 30th of December. And it closed on the 31st. I've never heard of anything taking so quick on a holiday week.
It was remarkable because, for one, Pommel was willing to let the frequency go. It would have gone dark
Right.
and then reverted back to the FCC in a few
Right.
months.
Yeah.
So,
And it's hard to restart something again.
Right.
Once you shut it off, and even if you get somebody else to come in, you've lost listeners. Because as soon as the station goes dark, people find other homes.
well, it's an extraordinary story, and as you point out, just to happen in that span of time, because people were still in the shock stage of losing KCR when a solution was at hand, which is
Yeah.
terrific. And the value to your audience particularly, which is an older audience, is that they may not be as adept on Facebook or social media as perhaps you are, the radio station is, or I am. So this is their social media. This
is their contact.
Right. They tune in Monday through Friday from 7 till 9.
Well,
and
you
they
have
hear.
a newspaper, the Freeman, a nice newspaper, but hey, it has old news.
Yeah.
You know, when you read it the next day, since it goes to press early, and I understand the problems there, and they have to live with that. But this is a way that local news stories get out early in the morning. Times-Herald Record does try to cover Kingston, but they don't have everything that's local. Though I must say they were a big help in ratcheting up public interest in Kingston Community Radio. And their reporters, they had 2 or 3 reporters, right on my case all the time. It helps that their office is right down the street
Yeah, they have
from
a
us.
Kingston office
Yeah.
now. Well, you do
But
great.
still.
Yeah. And Kingston Community Radio does great service. You have all the local politicians on. You cover all the and in conjunction with Robin Hood Radio, which is going to expand the programming a little bit. I understand.
Yeah, well, they have
Yeah.
a lot more interesting program. Not that Pamela didn't have interesting program, but it's a different thrust. NPR does all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's classical music on GHQ in the mornings, I think from 10 to 11. GHQ has not aired classical music
Right.
in decades. I mean, back since the 60s.
Well, congratulations. It's a great end to what could have been a tough story. And we're so thrilled for the people at KCR. That's it for this week's show. Thanks to Kathleen Murray and Beth Hannigan. For more about this Saturday's Renew You 2014 fundraiser for the Kingston Kinderland 2 playground, go to juniorleaguekingston.org. Thanks to Kevin Gilfeather and Julie Noble of Kingston's Parks and Recreation. Winterfest is also this Saturday. For details, go to kingstonparksandrec.org. And thanks to Walter Maxwell again. For more about Kingston Community Radio or to listen online, go to mykcr.org. Remember, all of our previous shows are available on the Kingston Now YouTube channel, and you can find that link on our Facebook page. For Kingston Now, I'm Jimmy Buff. We'll see you next time.